can move back and forth between this world and the world of the dead. I need to find Macy.
A woman came through here. She's a child. Macy.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Po2 podcast. I'm Amber.
And I'm Jay.
And this week we're going to be reviewing the latest episode of the Charmed reboot.
Cats, Camels, and Elephants, oh my. Which seems to be a reference to lions and tigers and bears, oh my, from Wizard of Oz. On Twitter, Joey Falco said that they should have called it We Don't Talk About Brujo, which is a reference to Encanto, the song We Don't Talk About Bruno. That would have been a better title, I think. I don't know. I don't really like the titles for a lot of these episodes. What do you think?
No, I mean, I thought the title was weird. I was thinking, like, when I thought of the title, I thought, okay, is this going to be like one of them episodes like the OG Charm did? Remember that episode where Phoebe turned the whole bar of people into animals? I thought, okay, well, maybe they're going to do something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing. I don't really know what they were going for with the title. I like when they pick, I like pun titles. I like titles that are cutesy and funny or clever that when you hear it, it reminds you of the plot.
I didn't think the title really related to the episode.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry.
But speaking of the episode, I'll just jump right into it. I really loved this week's episode for a lot of reasons. I mean, what I kind of want to talk about most is Maggie's power. What about you?
I thought this week's episode was all right.
Really? Just all right?
Yeah, it had some good moments and it had some moments that I didn't like. So I think it was okay, but it was all right. It wasn't a bad episode.
Really? I thought it was really good.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay, let's just start with something. What didn't you like about it?
No, let's do yours. What did you like first?
Okay, so like I said, I want to talk about Maggie's power. So there's at 2 points of this episode where Maggie goes after Harry, who goes into the veil because he's been revealed now that he's a necrolyter, which means that he's traded his ability to orb and heal, like his normal white lighter powers. He's traded that in for the ability to orb into the veil and use dead bodies as a conduit to like get into the other side. There's a point where Harry goes into the veil and he doesn't come back after a while, and Maggie finds herself being able to go into the veil as well, to go after him, and then brings him back. And later in the episode, towards the end, when they have the big showdown with Sunny, Maggie finds out. She takes her, so Sunny is I forget what she's called. She's a cat demon.
Something or other. It sounds like Neko something, I think, or it's got some really weird name that sounds like Japanesey or something.
I think it's Nekomata.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So they haven't said it in the show, but on Twitter, Joey tweeted that Sunny, she is a magical creature, and what she is a Nekomata cat. And they're Japanese in origin, but the whole point is that she's a cat demon. So let's just go with that. She's a cat demon, and she has like the eyes, the claws, the 9 lives. So what Maggie does during her final, with the showdown against Sunny, is that she copies her claws. She sees herself with the ability to like grow claws, and she uses it to take out Sunny. And then later it's discovered that when they talk about it, that her power of empathy has evolved into mimicry. So now she can not only feel other people's emotions, now she can use their powers for a short period of time. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I thought that was good. I was really impressed with that. It's definitely similar to what they did with Phoebe in the original series, because with Phoebe's empathy power, they from the get-go, really. Not only could she uh sort of absorb other people's emotions, but she could also absorb their powers. So it's kind of similar in that way, although it's kind of
They called
different.
it, yeah, they called it channeling in the original. So I think that the key difference is that Phoebe could take their power and reflect it back or use it against them in certain instances, whereas Maggie can just outright copy the power as long as she feels the emotion behind it.
Yeah.
She said she felt um, what they were feeling at the time when they used the power, and I think that's the key to like how it links up with the empathy power. So I really like what they're doing with Maggie, because now she has an active power. Now it's no longer just empathy and premonitions. Now she can actually join in the fight potentially. And that also gives her more variety. I'm sure Sarah Jeffrey is going to have a lot of fun with that, because before, I remember when they were doing the promo for season one, she was, Macy, Madeline Man Talk was saying how she waved her arms around or whatever to fling things around to to pretend to have that power. And Sarah Jeffrey was like, well, she just touches people's shoulders. That's all she could do. So now she can actually do more.
It's an interesting power that they gave her. And they gave her 2 upgrades in this episode, because in this episode, they revealed that she now has a new weapon. She's traded in her baton for a boa staff. It's like the baton that she has, although it comes out both ways.
Mm.
Which is one of the things that I didn't like about this episode. When they introduced it, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I was like, well, no, it's not actually. Because what I don't understand is they literally gave Maggie a magical staff that does the same thing, but it was given to her by her mum.
Right.
Her dead mum gave it to her in a way that was this significant moment. And that went away for no reason whatsoever. There was never an explanation as to why that went away. She ended up with a baton, and now they've given her a staff again. It's like, well, why didn't they just give her back the staff?
Yeah, I don't get that. I wish they would just do away with the weapons altogether. And it's weird because I remember on Twitter, someone asked about the weapons from season one. And I think Joey said, oh, it's been too long, or I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said that it's been too long for them to revisit it or something like that. And I just find it weird that they've given her 3 weapons altogether. And I just don't understand why they would give her another one when they could have just did a callback to season one, just give her the original one. And it's interesting though, because this episode started out with a huge callback to the pilot. So if they're willing to revisit certain things from season one, why not just close the gap further and just bring back literal things that they did?
Like her literal magical staff. I mean, that had magical powers. And when she used to hit with it, it would I guess it would shoot, some kind of energy would come out, white energy. So it had some sort of force behind it. And I thought, well, that's good. But why have they just given her a regular metal staff?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. And it's like, well, they just disregarded that plot from season one because they felt like they couldn't go back and revisit it. But I feel like you said, if they're going to revisit the Harry thing, I mean, why not? I mean, it's a literal magical staff that their mum gave her. So I just think it was stupid that they did that.
There's some things that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, for example, on Twitter, there's a lot of information that the writers tweet out to explain things or give, for example, there's characters like species names that are revealed on Twitter, but I'm like, why isn't there an effort to put that in the actual episode? I know that with, for example, Sunny, it would be cool if they would actually say what she is in the show. I know that you can gather from watching it that she's some sort of cat thing, but if they had this whole thing picked out for her, why not just, I don't understand why things like slip like that on the actual show. Same thing with props. Like they take an effort to make these beautiful, gorgeous props. And if the director chooses not to show it, then it's like, you never see it again.
Yeah, like the Book of Shadows, which we got to see in this episode, and it was just like it was there, and it was just kind of a tool to represent their witchness. Because what happens is Michaela's mum comes to visit them, and Michaela's sitting in the she's with the dev, and that kind of awkward situation goes on, and Michaela puts on this hideous dress that a lot of people were saying, why is she dressed like a pilgrim? But I guess that's something that she had to, like, 'cause she's trying to portray this image to her mum that she's like,
Wholesome or virginal or something.
yeah. And so, but there was a scene where she saw the Book of Shadows on the couch, and she just covered it over. And I just thought, it's just like one of those things that I just wish had more of a character, had more of a presence. Because you think like the Book of Shadows and the original Charmed was a character in and of itself. It was a huge part. It was like the main part of the show. And I feel like that kind of sucks that the Book of Shadows in this version doesn't have it's just a throwaway prop, basically.
Yeah, even from what I saw, like when she sees it in the living room or whatever, and before she covers it up, it literally looked so bland, so simple that it looked like something someone bought on Etsy. I'm like, that is their Book of Shadows now?
Yeah. So another thing that I really, and I don't want to make this a negative podcast, but I
Mhm.
thought we'd get out the bits that I didn't like first. And because this is in the first part of the episode, it's why I'm bringing it up now. I didn't like the scene in the attic with Harry and Maggie and what's her
Really?
name? And Mel. No, I didn't like that scene. And you know why?
Why?
Melanie Diaz.
Oh,
I felt like she was phoning it in.
I can see
I
that.
I could see that Rupert Evans and Maggie, I bought what they were saying, and I bought them being in character. But when she was talking, I was like, no.
I think I'm just so used to the way she acts that I don't doesn't bother me anymore.
I
It
mean,
kind of
it
yeah.
does annoy me though, because then she'll do another scene and she'll be really good in it. And it's I just think, how is she gonna go from like being like passionate and like strong and like in the scene in one moment to like in another scene she's just like reading from the script.
She's not good at line delivery. When she is delivering lines or talking to someone and has like a long thing to say or whatever, she's horrible. I hate to speak badly about anyone, but again, this is like the writers, this is like a I think this is like something that the writers and directors should be more on top of. They should play to an actor's strength. Mel is really good at reacting and being in the scene, being in the moment. She's a good scene partner, but she's just not good at delivering lines. So that I think that's why you're noticing these things where she's good in one part of the episode and then other parts she's really stale. I just think that they keep giving her lines that maybe should go to, you know, Maggie and Harry
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Macy. Well, I'm just surprised. Like, well, what I wanted to say is that I thought you were gonna have more of a reaction to see Harry tied up.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, I was watching it and I was like, oh, all the sexual overtones.
No, I don't. Like, I can be attracted to him sometimes, but most of the time I'm just not bothered by him. That's just Harry.
No, but see, like in season one, in the pilot, when he abducted and tied up all three girls just to tell them that they were witches. I mean, I remember when we reviewed that episode, I thought like we thought that was kind of creepy and rapey and like they maybe shouldn't have done it like that. But then it's funny when the roles are reversed and it's women doing it to a guy. I was like, this looks like the start of a very bad porno.
Yeah, no,
Dudes.
I guess I never saw it that way.
No, I mean, I think it's because Rupert Evans is just really hot. I mean, they really made him like more youthful and like sexier, edgier, starting with season 2 and 3. Whereas season
Yeah,
1, he came off really older and stuffy. So it's just I don't know. Plus, you've been saying like all that Harry Jordan scenes, were kind of a turn on for you. So I was just surprised you didn't have a reaction to
yeah,
Rupert
no.
Evans tied up.
Yeah, I probably saw a little bit of that in the promo, so I was sort of expecting it. But
Oh, another big moment that I want to jump into is so Michaela's mother turns out to be Sunny in disguise. So it's not really her mom. So we do get to see what Michaela's mother looks like and kind of an idea of how she is, but she was never there. It was Sunny in disguise. Oh, real quick, I wanted to say I know that she used the Book of Shadows to do like an unglamoring spell. I wish it pissed me off that we didn't get to see any of the pages. Like I know that I mentioned it before, but it's like if you're going to use the book and actually use a spell from it, you should really show what they're looking at. Considering they have an artist that takes the time to write and draw these things.
well, I thought it was odd that like when she went up in the attic with the book and she went to look for this potion or whatever, because we know that the full disclosure potion or whatever it is, it requires this like green kind of liquid.
Yeah, because we saw Macy do it in season 1.
Yeah, but she like seemed to automatically know what the liquid was, like on the shelf of all these bottles, and I was thinking,
So
okay,
was it the full disclosure spell?
yeah, it was.
Well, maybe they've since ironed out all the kinks and had like pre-made potions and stuff like already done, like simplified, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but it didn't look like it was labeled. Maybe it was, but I don't remember seeing a label on there.
Yeah.
Um, so
But you
yeah,
but you think like she's only been a witch for 7 episodes and she's already performing spells and potions on her own. It's pretty quick.
yeah, it was nice to kind of see that. I mean, and it was kind of nice to meet Michaela's mum, even though that wasn't really her. We kind of got an idea of what she's like, and she's like this um wholesome, traditional, kind of conservative.
A little judgmental.
But we got, yeah, a little judgmental. But do you know what? It was so hilarious to me when there's a scene where, because we don't know that she's actually Sunny in disguise. We just think that Kayla thinks she's like someone else. She don't think that's her mum. And it was so funny to me because there's a scene where the mum's standing in the kitchen and she's looking out the window and this little bird
Oh my god.
comes and sits on the window frame and she just grabs the bird, this cute little bird, in her hand and she eats it.
Yeah.
And her reaction, it was the most campus shit I've ever heard, ever seen.
Yeah, this
I
episode was so camp.
I cracked up laughing. I know it wasn't supposed to be like, I know it wasn't supposed to be funny, but it made me laugh because how just funny it was, like her reaction. And also, we got that really at the start of the episode. We got that scene with like friggin' Sunny, and she's around a big giant bubbling cauldron. I thought, oh my god, staring at. I thought, oh my god, how camp can you be?
No, I know. And then speaking of camp, so what I wanted to get to, the reason why I brought all this up is because I wanted to talk about the thumb scene.
Oh
So
my
the
god.
whole point of Sunny pretending to be Michaela's mother and going into the house is to pretty much get a piece of bone from Michaela for the spell, and she severs her thumb and takes it, and like takes off with it. But I just thought the whole thing was so ridiculous. It was so camp. Like I even tweeted that to the writers, because the Charmed writers official account, they're like, well, that happened as soon as like, the thumb scene thing happened. And I said, oh my God, that was so camp. And they liked my tweet, but it was just so ridiculous. And I could not take it seriously, because so like me and you, we're artistic people. We work with
Yeah.
our hands. For Michaela to be an artist and to lose her thumb and to be as chillaxed about it as she was, that's so ridiculous. Like her fucking thumb. I mean, come on. I understand if it was like a pinky or something, but it was like her actual thumb. Like she will never be able to hold anything again. And she was just like, that bitch. And then she just
She literally acted like she just got a fucking paper cut.
yeah.
I'm sorry, if someone cut your thumb off, bitch, you would be screaming, you would be in absolute agony, there'd be blood everywhere. You would be like, you just stole my thumb, or whatever.
And she just like wrapped it up and went on her merry way, like it was nothing. Like again, like it was a paper cut. And I'm like, she needs stitches. She needs something, because like I get it's a show, on the CW, they can't be that gory, but I mean, they could have. It was just so stupid. It was camp, but it was also like, I don't know, like B movie type, camp. I don't know.
No, I didn't. That was another thing that I thought was stupid. That I didn't like about this episode.
It was so stupid that it was entertaining. I'll just put it that way for me.
Yeah, but like I just think like, I know they're not taking themselves too seriously, but they go from like, they have like a really like emotional momentous moment with like Harry and him being in the veil and talking about how sad he is, and then they go and do that, and her reaction is just like I said, like she just got a paper cut. I mean, there's no realism in this show. It's so that's something that I miss about the original Charmed, is that things would happen to them, but it wouldn't be blasé. If they got, I mean, sometimes they get hit by stuff like fireballs or things, and they would make light of it because they were so used to it. But none of them ever got a limb cut off or part of themselves actual cut off. Well, they got the heads cut off, but that was different.
Great. Just great.
I just feel like it should have just been, it was just a silly scene.
Yeah, but like the Sleepy Hollow episode that happened in season 6, they were already beyond taking it seriously at that point.
How could this happen?
It was like on level with that scene where they like reveal that little fluffy ball thing in the premiere. It was like that, whatever it's called. I can't remember what it was called. So the plot for this episode is that Sunny is trying to resurrect some kind of, I guess it's a creature, a monster. Is what the
last one, I think.
Yeah, and it's a monster apparently, according to the Guardian, who ends up in the other realm or wherever that Harry went to, the afterlife.
Yeah, she also confirms that Macy is gone, like gone.
So what I want to know is, what is the difference between a monster and a demon?
I'm not sure. I think a monster, it falls under magical creature, something that's of earth, something that has like biology, whereas a demon is something from the underworld, something inhuman, something not of earth. At least that's what I think. I mean, because the mythology changes season to season, which really sucks, because they've done away with demons altogether this season. And I think that the only thing we're seeing now are types of magical beings.
Which I don't like. I would like some demons in there. We had some Maggie going on the hunting, but we didn't really get to see any of that. We only got to see that for like one episode. I feel like they could have done more with that. Like kind of like what they did in Buffy when she would go off on her hunts and stuff. I would have really liked to have seen more of that. So yeah, I feel like the magical thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, Joey tweeted that he's not interested at all in demons, so that's why we're not seeing any this season.
yeah, but he's not interested in demons, but we are.
I know, but
Well, I am.
that's his creative decision. I mean, we are getting monsters, which I'm fine with, because
Mm,
for me, it's like it's no different. I mean, if they have like a villainous creature or monster or whatever, I mean, it's no different than some cat. You know, like for example, there's no difference between like a Nekomata, this cat creature, versus like in the original Charm, where it's a demon that was a cat. You know, there's no
mm.
difference. Like anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're very, very similar. And so they want to bring this like she wants to bring this like lost one back. And I thought it was kind of I noticed something. I noticed that the visual effects on the lost one was very, very similar to the visual effects for that like smoke demon thing, whatever it was that attacked Mel and Harry in season 2. I was like, that's literally looks the same, but apparently it's not.
They probably reused assets or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what they were doing. Um, and so
I thought the whole Lost One thing, it felt really similar to like the Whispering Evil in season 3.
yeah, and so Sunny wants to bring this thing back, and she needs the thumb. She gets the thumb, and we find out like,
She needs the blood of the eldest, the hair of the youngest, and the bone of the middle.
and then we get the big showdown because it has to be done during the pink moon, which is that even a thing? I don't think that's
Probably
even a thing.
not.
I think that's something that they've just made up. Um, the set kind of reminded me, the set where the showdown where she was around that big cauldron, it reminded me of kind of like something out of Hocus Pocus
Yeah.
mixed in with that episode from the OG Charmed with the Dark Priestess. That episode, it was like a combination where the girls got evil. It was like a combination of that. It was like a cool looking set. Um, I always love it when Maggie gets to fight. So I enjoyed her doing her kung fu and, getting out there and doing all this with her staff. I just loved that. Um, and obviously, like we said before, she does get Sunny gets killed. So
But she's a cat, and cats have 9 lives, and we see I think these tattoo marks on her arm, and when she resurrects herself, one of the marks went away. So I think they're using the 9 lives motif and showing that, when she dies, she has backup lives, which is smart. I mean, if they're gonna go with the whole cat thing, I mean, I haven't seen that done before. But I mean, like in regards to the whole tattoo thing, I haven't seen that done before.
um, so another thing that happened in this episode is for some reason the writers decided that they wanted to pretty much deal with Ray's curse storyline, because now Mel knows about Ray is cursed
Yeah.
because Jordan let it slip. They could have drawn it out longer. I feel
I
like
don't think they could have, not with the season this short.
oh, so you think that it's like it just didn't go anywhere. It didn't have any like momentum. And they reveal that Jordan's like healing him every 24 hours.
Yeah, they didn't even have Ray in this episode too, so a lot of these interactions happen off screen.
I don't know. I would have just liked it to have more of an impact, be more kind of threatening to the girls. Someone said, and I'm gonna bring up the comment. I think her name was La La Land. She commented on our last video and said that she agreed with me when I said that the girls should have to like deal with some real life issues, some real life threats. And I thought that the heart disease thing was more made more of an impact than this magical curse, because it's magic. they can just like cast a spell or like do something. Whereas with physical ailments, you know, there's more sort of risks attached to that.
So we did find a little bit more about the tally man. We got to find out that the body that so in the beginning, Harry and Maggie go and investigate the tally man's lair, right?
Yeah.
So they go and investigate the tally man's lair, and they find a mummified corpse propped up on a chair, in a chair, watching the tally man's speech on loop, which is really kind of creepy.
It was so
Um,
creepy.
yeah. I mean, that's like what I don't know, like kind of reminded me out of Psycho with like Norman Bates' mother. But anyway, it turns out when Harry goes into the veil, you know, he uses the dead body as a conduit to get into the veil and talks to who the dead person was. It turns out that it's the tally man's brother. And we find out who's who in that flashback we saw in that spa episode where Mel goes into the tally man's mind, and his happiest memory apparently was his brother teaching him how to like use his gremlin powers to control machinery, and then putting his hand in a wood chipper. So it's as it turns out, the tally man was the younger brother, and he killed his older brother, and he's held on to his body ever since, which is really messed up.
Like when he was like sitting in the chair and his body, the body, I was like, oh my God. Like that took me back a bit. I was like, wow. That's like majorly creepy. And this is what I mean. It's like they'll have like a scene like that that's like really dark and like creepy, and then they'll go and do something really stupid, like, you know,
Mhm.
what they did with Michaela and all that. It's weird
Yeah,
how they
and we did get to learn more, because like I said, remember how I said I thought the tally man was killed off too fast, and I was hoping they like give more info about him. So now we know he's basically an incel, which means that he was this, you know, loser, not good enough, clearly wasn't um, growing into his powers, so he was looked down upon. So he turned to violence and intimidation tactics to become who he is. And he used his brother's death as a way to paint this whole Tallyman legend or whatever. So yeah, that did clear up a lot about his backstory. It's a shame that they couldn't do it, like they could not do that more gradually. They kind of just, you know, like added all this last minute, but I appreciate that they tried, because it really, a lot of his actions now make sense, and who he is
yeah.
or was.
I thought I thought that Rupert Evans was really, really good in those scenes when he was
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
in like in the afterlife. I just thought he was so good at just the way he delivered the lines, his acting. I think he really did a bang up job this week. He really did. He got very upset because the Guardian told him, well, not Rupert, but Harry, told him that Macy wasn't coming back, which I feel like that was sort of shady. And the reason I say shady is because the promo made it look like Harry was going to go and see Macy again. But when the actuality of the episode is we're never going to see her again, more than
Yep.
likely.
Yeah, and they even teased that a little bit in the episode when the the Tallyman's brother said that there was like a woman asking around, but it turned out to be the Guardian, and Harry thought it was Macy. So, one thing I wanted to bring up too is that I think a lot of people are overlooking that Harry is so deep in grief that he pretty much said he was ready to kill himself. He
Oh
said
my God.
he said that he wanted to go into the tree to go be with her. And that's basically saying, I want to be dead. I want to be dead too, so I can be with her. And the Guardian told him no. And then, I mean, I think Maggie caught that and just was very clear. I liked how they acted that part because it was about, you know, suicidal feelings, but she was really strong and told him, you know, he needed to be there for them right there. Like they needed him to be alive. And it's like when someone is going through that, you it's like people in that moment, they need purpose. They need to be reminded of what they're going to leave behind or what they're basically abandoning by leaving like that. So it was like a touchy subject, but I mean, I think they dealt with it in a way that fits for the show. But it was really
Yeah.
dark. It was really dark what he said, or like
Mm.
the meaning of what he said. And sometimes grief does that. What I didn't like, though, now to kind of flip it a little bit, I did not like how Harry was saying that Maggie couldn't possibly understand how he was feeling because he was in love with her. But he, you can't compare your relationship to someone else's. I mean, I get that they were sisters and he and Macy were lovers, but at the same time, you can't say that your relationship or your love for someone is greater than someone else's because Maggie lost her too.
Yeah, I think
So
that was a bit selfish.
I kind of wish that they had her say something about that. Twitter certainly had a lot to say about it, but
Oh, did they? I
oh
didn't
yeah,
see that. What
they
they
did not,
say?
a lot of people did not like that. They said you can't monopolize grief, that it's not fair to gatekeep um, like, you know, other people's feelings. But
Yeah.
again, I think Maggie was because I tweeted too that I think that the reason why they have Mel, who's very much past the grief stage with Macy. She's already moved on, you know, may or may not be related to real life circumstances, but Mel is over it. Maggie is at the anger phase, or was at the anger phase, and now she's come to accept it. Whereas now Harry has been in the grief and no, he's been in the bargaining stage for a long time, trying to figure out how to save her, how to see her again. Um, Now he's in the depressed, you know, stage of it. And they did this for a reason, to show the different stages of grief. It would be boring if everyone has already moved on, you know, if everyone just talked around it and moved on already. But like they did this so to show people there's a variety in how people grieve. And some people say things like that. They say things that aren't fair. They say things that are really scary. And I appreciate the writers at least giving the stronger scenes to someone like Rupert, who's really delivering it.
Another thing that I really liked about this episode was Dev. I thought he was really good. He has his character has really grown on me. Originally when we met him, I was a bit like I wasn't unsure about him, but I just wasn't, you know, because when they first introduced him, he seemed like an asshole, like what he was doing, like when he like made those women like go in the bathroom with him and all that. I didn't like that at all. But then the next episode they started to like build on his character and he's just turned into one of my favorite characters on the show. He's a good actor. He's very good at delivering lines. He's very good at being in the scene. He's very good. He has chemistry with Kayla. I don't necessarily feel like Kayla is totally into him. I think he's more sort of into her than she is him. But
Right.
I just really enjoyed his scenes in this episode. What did you think?
Um, I'm not as big a fan as you are. I could take or leave him. I think I do I think for me, he's good in small doses. Um, I thought they were gonna spread out his appearances a little more, but I mean it's fine. I mean, I think it's good for Kayla to have someone to bond with and explore magic with because he kind of is needed for her. Like she's now she has someone that she can talk magic with and share her journey with. That's not her sisters, I guess. I mean, they're not technically her sisters, right? They're not officially her sisters, or we don't know what they are yet, but let's just for the sake, her fellow charmed ones, she has someone else that she can talk to. And I think that's really important for her because she lost her friends in Philadelphia, wherever she was. Yeah, she lost her friends from where she was because she had to move to Seattle. So I think it's good for her to have someone like Dev in her life right now.
We also got to see a little bit of Ruby in this episode. She's running.
I'm surprised we're seeing so much of Ruby. I'm gonna say this. Um I know that, a lot of people liked Ruby, but I don't give a shit about Ruby. I don't give a shit about her, like the teens that we never see. I know that it's a real important thing that people do in real life, but it's like we don't see them. We don't, it's not a part of the show. Like I don't watch Charm to like, watch homeless teenagers get help. It's just we're not even seeing them. We're not seeing like the impact she's having on these other people. So it's like I don't really care about Ruby's storyline. Well, if they were leading up to Mel helping these kids in a magical way and also shedding light on these real life issues that kids are going through, then I'd be fine with that. But for it to all happen off screen and just for Ruby to kind of hover around being like, oh, homeless teens, I'm like, go away.
I just feel, yeah, I mean, I just feel like if they like showed us, these situations and things like that and what's going on off screen, it'd have more of an impact, but just doesn't. It's like, it just feels like she's just there for like, I don't even know why she's there. Like, what purpose does she serve to the show? And I mean, are they gonna get them back together again, or unless because I feel like Ruby was just there to be Mel's love interest.
One part that I was like almost excited for, but then I got really disappointed. I thought Ruby was telling Mel that say like all the workers in safe space were leaving. I thought she was saying that safe space was going to be closed down or some shit. I was like, yes. But then she was talking about like the shelter thing that she had set up. I'm like, oh, I really want them to just get rid of safe space.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me anyway. I mean, we don't, who's running it, because Macy inherited it from that boyfriend she had, whatever his Julian, which was weird because she
Left
only
it to
knew.
Macy. He left it all to Macy.
Yeah,
And
but
with
she only
Macy
knew him for like
gone,
6 months or something, and he left her like everything.
yeah.
And I thought that was
It would have made sense if they put in a line that they gave it to Swan or something, but it's like it's like save space isn't even a presence anymore in this season. So I mean, I appreciate that, but just let it go already. Just like, write it out.
and they have that bar that there's never any like anyone serving at. It's always them serving themselves, pouring themselves drink.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know that they need the command center, but they could always write in another way in there. They could just say they have direct access from their house now.
They could do what Witches of Eastend did, or what they did in season 1. They could have like another door in the house that goes for a secret.
Goes through the portal. Or how did it go?
Yeah.
It came through the portal.
Yeah. Sorry.
So, what do you rate this episode?
7. It's a very loose 7. What do you rate this episode?
About the same, 7 out of 10.
I think that, yeah, like I said, I think it was just shady that they, kind of implied that Macy was coming back when and then turned around in the episode and she said she's never coming back, which
No, they did that in the original show too. I remember they did a promo, I think implying that Prue was going to come back. Wasn't it the episode where um wasn't it Zanku resurrected a bunch of people from the past and they were teasing it was going to be Prue, but it ended up being the inspector who Prue let die?
I have no idea. Sorry, I don't remember
No.
that.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
remember it was the one with the raptor demon, I think.
because I feel like at the end of season 3, they kind of left it open ended, as if to say like Macy could occasionally make comebacks, but as we know,
Oh yeah.
that's not going to happen.
We got a lot of tea. I've been following very closely the whole Madeline Man Talk, um, her leaving. Like I've been following the whole Madeline Man Talk saga on why she left. If any of you are interested and you want us to do a whole episode about what we know that may or may not be common knowledge at this point, I think a lot of it has spilled on Twitter, but I have been following social media accounts for a while, Reddit. I have done a deep dive, so there's a lot of things that we can speculate about her reasoning for leaving. So,
I have to be honest, I really don't want to talk about it. Like
oh, then just cut it out then.
no, I mean, I just feel like it's hard because there's some stuff that it's very like it's a serious topic and I don't really want to get into that. I just think we have to be careful where we go because YouTube is very strict about speaking about certain things and I don't want to trigger the algorithm.
I think it's pretty. I think what I've compiled anyway is fairly harmless. I mean, we're allowed to speculate. There's nothing that I have found that is like meant to be private. It's all public. But
um
not a lot of people would take the time to compile everything. And not a lot of people keep up with Twitter. So, not a lot of people will even know. There was people on Reddit who were disappointed that Madeline didn't show up and they did not know why. They did not know that she left for specific reasons and that she is very likely not coming back. So again, if anyone's interested, we can talk about it. And if there's no interest, we'll just keep doing reviews and just stick to that.
and so I hope that they don't do that again and they don't like allude to her coming back because I genuinely don't think we will ever see Macy come back unless they use like old stock footage or they use some kind of like pictures of her. I definitely think we will see Macy appearing in the show in like around the house and like pictures and stuff. But I don't think we're going to see Madeline on the show ever again.
I think if they need to, they could just recast her. They can just say that her spirit, possessed someone else just to talk to them, or maybe we'll have someone else do the talking for her.
Yeah, that's possible. That's
Yeah.
that's a possible thing. So yeah. Anything else you want to add?
No. We will be back next week. I don't believe there are any more breaks, so we will be back every week until the end of the season. Hopefully we get a season 5, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It's not looking great because Batwoman just got canceled, Legends of Tomorrow just got canceled, and there's worry that Legacies might be canceled. I just looked on Twitter. So right now the CW is currently, I think, up for sale, and there may be so currently up until now, Charmed has been pretty safe because from what I said before, I think it's been renewed despite the low ratings because there's potential for syndication and streaming deals. But if it comes under new management, if there's other people who come into play that do not care about Charmed or its potential to make money later, they might just cancel it. Because shows that are in their 3rd or 4th season very rarely get canceled, specifically because of streaming and syndication. They want to wait till they get to like 80 episodes or so. But the fact that Batwoman got canceled, after 3 seasons, after 50 episodes, when generally it should have been safe. It should have been given like 1 or 2 more. But since that got canceled, a lot of people are really worried that Charmed might be near the chopping block too. So if you want Charmed to get renewed, the best bet is to watch it on the CW website. It has ads, but it's free. You don't even have to watch it, just have it play. Just go watch it on Netflix too. Have it play in the background. The CW needs to see that there's money to be made here, and that will help their decision. I think the decision is going to be made in May. Up until now, I felt secure about its renewal, but with everything changing and the other shows that have been canceled, I mean, let's be honest, the ratings have not been that good. And if all these other shows have been canceled, I think that there's a good chance that Charm might be over before we just when it's getting good, you know?
Yeah, we put up with like 2 really bad seasons, and then now when it's finally getting good again, the fact that we could lose it really sucks. But I just think, and also I just think that we all need to keep our expectations low as much as possible, because all this teasing that the writers are doing, that they're going to connect the original show and they're going to do this and they're going to do that, I just think it's not going to happen. I listened to Alyssa Milano at Comic-Con this last weekend, and she said that surprisingly her reaction to the reboot was positive. She said that she's happy that there's a reboot on the air, but she said no, she wouldn't come back as Phoebe.
Yeah.
She wouldn't come back as Phoebe. She doesn't think there's a place for it, and we know Holly won't. And I don't think Rose would, but I just think that they're not going to do that. They're not going to do a crossover with it. They might do like a very small something.
They might do like a reference that pieces them together, but we're not going to get special guest stars from the original. We're not going to have a crossover like that. I think what they're promising is just like references.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're doing fan service bare minimum. They want to keep people watching, but they're not gonna. They haven't got the budget for that kind of thing. I don't think. I think it would cost them some serious money if they wanted to actually do a proper crossover, even just to have a guest star, because wouldn't they have to pay more for those characters? Maybe.
Probably, yeah. And I think so. Yeah. I think that if they even use archival footage, they have to pay a lot. So, or anyone's likeness, they'd have to pay. So, I think they have access to referencing the original. I think they can talk about characters. It's just about showing and depicting
Yeah.
certain actors.
So yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's podcast. Have you got anything else to add, or?
No, that's it.
Okay, so we will be back next week with a review of Unveiled, which is episode 8. I think it's episode.
Yeah, it's up. Unveiled is episode 8, and it's also I think Joey deleted his tweet about it, but I vaguely remember him saying Unveiled is where we find out Michaela's connection for sure to Maggie and Mel. So hopefully it's a big one. I'm looking forward to it.
Anyway, thanks for listening, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe.
Yep, and follow us on Twitter. We are Po2_podcast on Twitter, and Facebook. We have a page where we share Charmed related news for both the original and the reboot. It's called Charm News.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.